The sun rises over a dense, unforgiving wilderness. Your feet are bare. No food, no tools, no fire. You hear rustling in the tall grass, not the wind, something bigger, something hungry. You turn. A saber-toothed predator locks eyes with you. Welcome to 20,000 BC. You're not the hunter here. You're the prey. You have no GPS, no medicine, no clean water. And if you think you'd just figure it out, you wouldn't survive the first night. Imagine waking up flat on your back, in the dirt. Your skin is scratched. The air smells like damp soil and something feral. There's no sound of traffic, no hum of electricity, just birds, distant howls, and your own heartbeat, thudding like a war drum. You're not in a dream. You're in the Paleolithic era roughly 20,000 years ago, and you're already in trouble. Because you're not just lost, you're naked. No clothes, no shoes, no phone, not even a knife. You don't even know where you are. There's no map because nothing around you has a name yet. That tree you're leaning on, it could be poison. That stream you see nearby could be filled with parasites. That warm breeze, it's carrying the scent of your sweat to anything nearby that's looking for a meal. You are soft. You are slow. You are exposed. This is how it really starts. Your feet are cut up within the first few steps. You're not used to terrain without sidewalks. Twigs stab your soles. Thorns rip at your ankles. Your skin and leathered, unadapted is practically an open invitation to every branch, insect, and sharp edge around you. You'll start shivering, even if it's warm. Why? Because your body is in full panic mode. Cold sweats, heart racing. You're not built to survive in this environment anymore. You've never had to. And hunger? That kicks in fast. Your stomach starts growling by the third hour. But what are you going to do? Eat random berries? Chew on bark? Good luck. Nearly half the plants in prehistoric ecosystems were inedible or toxic. And without generations of passed down knowledge, you're just guessing. Every bite could be your last. Even worse, you have no fire. You might think, I'll just rub some sticks together. Sounds cute. But it's nearly impossible without practice, and you have no dry kindling, no fire drill, no knowledge of wind direction or oxygen flow. You're cold, exposed, and getting weaker by the hour. The sun is already starting to dip. The air grows darker, colder, quieter. That quiet isn't peaceful, it's a warning, because something out there is watching you, and it knows you don't belong here. Up next in part 2, you'll learn just how many invisible threats are already inside your body and what's lurking out there under cover of darkness. You haven't eaten. You haven't slept. You're barefoot, sunburned, and your brain's running on fear. And here's the worst part. You're not even aware of how fast your body is breaking down. The modern human body is a marvel inside modern conditions. But out here, you're just slow, soft meat. No fur, no claws, no fangs. You can't see in the dark. Your hearing is average, and your sense of smell? Practically useless. Even the smallest things you don't see are already attacking you. Every scratch on your legs from the brambles, infection risk, no antibiotics, no antiseptic. Even a mosquito bite could carry a prehistoric parasite. Malaria existed back then, so did countless gut parasites. Drink from the wrong stream, and you're vomiting and dehydrated by nightfall. And that headache you're getting, it's not stress. It's dehydration. You're losing water faster than you can replace it, because prehistoric humans didn't just find water. They knew the land. They knew which plants held moisture, which streams were safe. You don't. You can feel your muscles slowing down. Your brain gets fuzzy. Every sound makes you twitch. Your body is going into survival mode, but that's not the same as being a survivor. Ancient humans had years of muscle memory, skills, and instincts passed down through generations. You have anxiety and a playlist of wilderness survival YouTube videos you watched once. Let's talk about shelter. You're probably thinking, I'll just find a cave. No, caves were rarely empty. They were homes to bears, big cats, or territorial humans. Walk into the wrong one, and you're not finding shelter, you're becoming shelter. So maybe you try to build something, a lean-to, a branch hut, but you have no tools, no cordage, no knowledge of wind direction, drainage, or how to avoid attracting bugs. Best case scenario? You stack a few sticks and hope it doesn't collapse. Worst case? You lie down somewhere that looks safe and wake up to a scorpion bite, or a hungry predator sniffing at your hair. Night is falling now, and with it comes a terrifying realization: you haven't made fire, you haven't found food, you haven't protected yourself, and this is only our 10. Darkness in the prehistoric world isn't just the absence of light, it's the beginning of the hunt. You're crouched near a patch of shrubs, trying to stay still. Every shadow looks alive, every sound feels like it's coming for you. Your body is shaking from cold, hunger, and fear. And worst of all, you're giving off scent, sweat, fear hormones. The prehistoric night was built for predators, and they've evolved to pick up exactly what you're leaking into the wind. There's no fence, no flashlight, no door to lock. You hear a branch snap. You freeze. Another rustle, this time closer. You're not imagining it. Something is circling. Could be a saber-toothed cat, a giant hyena, maybe even a pack of dire wolves, drawn in by the scent of weakness. Prehistoric predators didn't hunt like today's lions or tigers. They were bolder, more desperate. They weren't afraid of humans. They were used to eating them. And unlike the apex predators we know today, some of these beasts were bigger, stronger, and far more brutal. Even if you run, where would you go? You can't outrun a predator on foot. Not through brush, not in the dark, and especially not barefoot. You might try to climb a tree, but how long can you hold on? All night? You fall asleep from exhaustion, fall, and be dinner before dawn. Your instincts scream to move, to escape, but you don't know which direction is safe. There's no safe. And then there's the psychological toll. The terror doesn't fade. It builds. Every breath you take feels louder. Every heartbeat echoes in your ears. You feel like prey because you are prey. By our 15, your mind starts to spiral. You're hungry, dehydrated, cold, and sleep-deprived. Panic sets in. You cry, maybe. You whisper to yourself just to hear another voice. But this world doesn't care. The prehistoric world is a test of endurance, instinct, and generations of survival knowledge passed down in blood, stories, and scars. You have none of that. You were never meant to face this world alone. And that's just day 1. By now, you survive a cold, brutal prehistoric night, barely. But the real enemy isn't just the predators. It's the world itself, because out here, everything is trying to kill you. The air, the water, the plants, the dirt beneath your feet. Let's start with something simple: the weather. In the Paleolithic era, the climate was extreme and unpredictable. Depending on where you land, you might be trapped in brutal heat that scorches your skin in hours, or a cold snap that drops temperatures below freezing without warning. You have no weather app, no warning system, and no protective gear. And even if you find a cave or thicket to hide in, prehistoric storms didn't just bring rain. They brought floods, lightning, landslides, and wildfires. Ancient humans didn't just avoid bad weather. They read the clouds, the wind, the air pressure, things your body no longer knows how to interpret. Next up, plants. You see some berries, red, juicy, you're starving. But the rule red means dead? That's real. Prehistoric flora includes thousands of plants that are toxic to humans, and back then, even the safe ones could trigger nausea or hallucinations if you ate too much. And it's not just berries. Some plants blister the skin on contact. Some carry invisible spores that trigger infection or respiratory failure. Ancient tribes passed knowledge of safe plants through stories and trial and error. You need a botanist's memory just to survive lunch. And just when you think you've figured out what to avoid on land, you drink from a stream. That clear-looking water, it's not clean. It's filled with protozoa, bacteria, and parasites that have been thriving for millions of years. You can't see them, you can't smell them, but they're there, and they're brutal. Giardia, tapeworms, liver flukes. One sip and you could be vomiting, cramping, or worse, hallucinating and dehydrated in the middle of a predator's territory. This world doesn't just punish the weak, it punishes the uninformed. And in the prehistoric world, that's exactly what you are. Modern humans like to imagine themselves as apex predators. But in the prehistoric world, you're bottom of the food chain. Let's introduce you to the real kings of the ancient wilderness. And spoiler, they're bigger, faster, and meaner than anything you've ever seen in a zoo. First up, Smilodon, the saber-toothed cat. This thing wasn't just a big lion, it was a muscular, hyper-aggressive ambush predator with 11-inch dagger teeth and jaws strong enough to crush bone. You wouldn't hear it coming. It would stalk you silently for hours. Then, one pounce, and it's over in seconds. Next, short-faced bears. These beasts stood over 11 feet tall when upright and ran faster than a horse. They could smell carrion from miles away and weren't afraid of humans. If you thought climbing a tree was safe, they'd climb after you or just knock the tree over. Either way, you're done. Let's talk packs. One predator is bad enough. But in the ancient world, pack hunters dominated. Dire wolves, bigger than modern wolves. They hunted in large numbers and had crushing jaws designed for killing larger prey, like mammoths. Cave hyenas, twice the size of modern hyenas, with enough bite force to snap your femur like a toothpick. Terror birds, in some regions, humans, coexisted with giant, flightless, beak-bladed, velociraptor-sized birds that could outrun you and eviscerate with one strike. Still think you'd just fight back. With what? A stick? Your fists? Your average modern human has the grip strength of a child compared to our ancestors. You've never wrestled a predator. You've never been trained to throw a spear or trap an animal. And the moment you smell like blood, you're a signal flare in the dark. Even scavengers were dangerous. Prehistoric vultures and giant condors could strip a carcass clean in minutes, and they didn't always wait until you were dead. You can't hide, you can't fight, and running only works until your legs give out, which, for most modern humans, is embarrassingly soon. So, you've dodged the predators, for now. You've avoided poisonous plants. Maybe you even found water that seems clean. But the prehistoric world isn't done with you yet, because some of its most dangerous killers, you can't even see them. Let's start with bacteria. Prehistoric humans had different gut microbiomes, passed down over generations, tuned to their local environment. They were born into bacterial worlds that modern humans have never encountered. Their immune systems adapted over time. Yours, completely defenseless. That one scratch you got on your leg while running through the brush, it could turn septic. There's no neosporin, no clean bandages, no antibiotics, just dirt, blood, and time. You could lose a limb or your life. And you might not even realize it until the fever kicks in. Next, parasites. Modern humans live relatively sterile lives, but back then, it was open. Season on your bloodstream. Hookworms enter through your feet. Liver flukes hide in raw fish or infected water. Tapeworms latch onto your intestines and feast with you, assuming you find anything to eat. Ticks and lice everywhere, and many of them carried pathogens that cause deadly fevers, neurological damage, or chronic wasting. These things weren't side effects of prehistoric life, they were constants. And prehistoric humans had to live with them. They learned to manage, endure, and even build up resistance. You'd be lucky to make it to days before collapsing from infection, dehydration, or organ failure. And let's not forget viruses. Imagine catching an ancient strain of rabies, or a prehistoric hemorrhagic fever. There are pathogens from that era we still don't understand. Some could be extinct, others just waiting to wake up again, buried in melting permafrost or ancient remains. Prehistoric life wasn't just a battle against beasts, it was a war against biology. Every second, every breath, you're not just in danger from what hunts you, you're in danger from what's already inside you. Your modern brain is a marvel of abstract thought, language, and long-term planning. But out here, in the raw wild of the ancient world, it's a liability. See, your brain is wired for a modern environment. You're trained to think about tomorrow, your inbox, what someone meant by that text. But none of that matters here. In fact, those thoughts can get you killed. Prehistoric humans had a brain shaped by a completely different reality, one built for immediate survival. They weren't wondering what their friends thought about them. They were tracking every rustle in the grass, every shift in the wind, every crack of a twig. Their brains were wired to be hyper-present. Yours? You're dissociating. You're spiraling into anxiety. You're remembering a random embarrassing moment from high school while a predator stalks nearby. Let's talk about fear. You experience fear in abstract, future-driven ways. Public speaking, deadlines, rejection. But prehistoric fear, it was visceral. It came with clarity. Fight or flight wasn't an idea. It was instinct. They didn't have to think about what to do when danger showed up. Their bodies had rehearsed it 1,000 times. Yours has rehearsed scrolling, streaming, maybe running on a treadmill while listening to a podcast. That's not survival. That's simulation. And that difference, it matters. Because when a predator is chasing you or a venomous snake is under your feet, thinking too much can get you killed. Hesitation is death. Primitive humans had another advantage. They were born into hardship. Their brains weren't just alert, they were conditioned to endure pain. Loss, starvation, and cold from birth. Youth never had to endure that. And when your body breaks down, your mind follows fast. This is where modern humans fail in the wild. We don't have the wiring to keep going. When there's no hope. Prehistoric humans, that was their normal. You're alone in the prehistoric wild, and that, more than anything, is what seals your fate. Because early humans, they never survived alone. They weren't rugged solo adventurers, they were pack animals. The tribe wasn't optional, it was everything. Imagine a world where every task is life or death. One person watches for predators. One builds shelter. One gathers kindling. One cares for the injured. Alone, you have to do everything while exhausted, starving, and hunted. Now imagine doing that without inherited knowledge. Prehistoric tribes passed down generations of wisdom through stories, rituals, and observation. A child learned which plants could kill or heal, not by trial and error, but by watching others. They learned to listen to birdsong for warning signals. They knew that a certain type of wind meant a storm was coming. They knew how to survive, because it was taught from the moment they could walk. You've got no tribe, no elder, no storyteller. You're not part of any generational survival web. You're guessing your way through a world where guessing gets people killed, even emotionally. Your brain is hardwired for connection. Modern loneliness is painful, but prehistoric loneliness was lethal. Being separated from your tribe meant no protection, no warmth, and no way to pass on your genes. Your brain knew that, which is why even today, isolation triggers panic, anxiety, and depression. It's not weakness. It's evolutionary. Your ancestors felt danger in their bones when they were alone. But they also had a system to come back, a call, a trail, a fire. You have nothing, and if you did run into a prehistoric tribe, they might not help you, because to them, you're not one of their own. You're a threat, a resource risk, maybe even a disease carrier. And ancient humans didn't take chances. The brutal truth is, humans didn't conquer the world as individuals. They did it as groups, tribes, families, and without one, you are biologically, emotionally, and physically unsuited to survive. You think your 5 senses are sharp, but in the prehistoric wild, they're your biggest disadvantage. Modern humans have dulled senses that were once life-saving. Your eyes? designed for reading screens, not spotting camouflage predators in dense forests. Your ears? Trained to filter out background noise, not to detect the faintest snap of a twig from 50 feet away. Your nose? Nearly useless compared to the acute smell of ancient humans who could track prey. Endangered by scent alone. Imagine the smell of a predator miles away. A wet dog? You wouldn't notice. Prehistoric humans lived in these scents. They knew the difference between friend, foe, and food by smell alone. Their brains process this sensory data automatically, like an alarm system wired for immediate threat detection. Yours, it's buried under layers of distraction, comfort, and abstraction, on top of dulled senses. You've lost primitive instincts that kept early humans alive, the urge to freeze when threatened. Blending into the environment, the reflex to run before fear becomes paralysis. The understanding of when to fight or surrender. The ability to read subtle body language from animals and humans alike. You might feel overwhelmed by panic, but you don't know how to channel it into survival action. Your brain is trapped between modern anxiety and primal fear, a no man's land that can't save you from what's coming. This sensory and instinctual disconnect is why surviving one day in the prehistoric world is a miracle for modern humans. Without retraining your senses and rewiring your mind, you're not just at a disadvantage. You're vulnerable in every way. The first rays of dawn slice through the dense forest. Canopy. You've barely slept. Your body aches. Your stomach snarls. But there's no time for rest. Survival demands movement, focus, and ruthless efficiency. Your first task, find water. You stumble toward the sound of a nearby stream. But remember, clean water is a rare luxury. One wrong sip could send you into a spiral of sickness. So you cup your hands, filtering debris with leaves, hoping it's safe enough. Next comes food. Hunger claws at your insides, but without tools. Hunting is nearly impossible. You eye a cluster of berries, but can you trust them? Some could be deadly. You nibble cautiously, unsure if you're risking your life or gaining it. As the sun climbs, the temperature rises, sweat drips down your face, you're exposed, vulnerable to the elements and the predators that come with them. Every rustle, every shadow keeps you alert. You try to make a shelter, stacking branches and leaves into a crude lean-to, but your hands are raw, your knowledge limited. You wonder if it will even hold. You know fire is your best chance. It wards off animals, provides warmth, and offers hope. But without flint or tinder, creating it is a frustrating, exhausting task. Hours tick by, and frustration mounts. The sun reaches its peak, and you're left exposed and empty-handed. The sun hangs high and merciless, beating down as your strength begins to wane. Your stomach empties, your legs tremble, and the hunger gnaws deeper. Every movement feels heavier. Slower. And then a sound. A low growl from the underbrush. Your heart hammers in your chest. You freeze. The predator is close. Too close. It could be a pack of dire wolves, their eyes glinting with hunger. Or a lone smilodon, muscles coiled to strike. No tools, no weapons, just your bare hands and raw fear. Your mind screams to run. But where? The forest is dense, your footing uncertain. Every step risks a twisted ankle, a stumble, a fatal mistake. You try to stay calm. You breathe slowly, hoping to mask your presence. But your body betrays you. Sweat, rapid heartbeat, shallow breaths. The predator senses it all. Suddenly, the bushes burst open. You sprint blindly. Branches whipping your face, roots tripping. Panic floods your veins. You climb a tree in desperation, muscles screaming in protest. The predator snarls below, pacing. You cling to the bark, trembling, knowing sleep will never come. Night is still hours away, but you've entered a nightmare that most prehistoric humans never faced alone, and few survived. Your body aches, your mind races, hunger and fear collide, threatening to shatter your resolve. And yet, somehow, you're still here. Darkness falls, like a heavy curtain, but the dangers don't fade, they multiply. The night in the prehistoric world is alive with sounds that would chill your bones, distant howls, the rustle of nocturnal predators, the snapping of branches under heavy paws. You're still stuck in that tree, muscles trembling from exhaustion. You know you can't stay there forever. Your arms are cramping, your grip weakening. Eventually, you'll have to come down and face whatever waits below. Your stomach twists in hunger, your throat dry and burning. Without fire, you're vulnerable, cold, hungry, and a beacon for every hungry beast nearby. You try to build a fire. Again, fumbling with sticks and dry leaves, hours pass with nothing but frustration and failure. Your hands are raw, blistered from rubbing bark. But fire isn't just warmth, it's survival. Then, as if the night weren't enough, comes the loneliness, the crushing realization that no one is coming to save you. No tribe, no friends. Just the endless dark, your racing thoughts, and the primal terror that maybe you won't make it through the night. Yet somehow, despite every impossible obstacle, your will to survive burns fierce, because for prehistoric humans, survival was never guaranteed, but it was all they had. You've just lived through a day that modern humans couldn't survive without centuries of knowledge, strength, and community. It's a brutal reminder. Our ancestors were warriors shaped by a merciless world, and we carry their legacy in our very DNA. So next time you complain about a tough day, remember, you're standing on the shoulders of giants who survived when every second was a fight for life. If you found this journey eye-opening, hit subscribe for more mind-blowing stories from our ancient past. And tell me in the comments, what part of prehistoric survival shocked you the most? Let's talk about it.